Hey everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video review, and today we're going to be doing DC Direct History of the DC Universe's Batman. Now take a look at this Batman right here. Now I've said it in multiple different reviews that I'm not going to do character bios on the Trinity, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. The reason for this is because you know who they are. You know who Batman is, you know who Superman is, and you know who Wonder Woman is. There's nothing I can't tell you that is essential about the character that you don't already know. And if I tried to do an in-depth character bio of them, well, I would be here all day. Instead of doing a bio on Batman, I'm actually going to talk about his suits, because there are differences in each suit. Mainly I'm going to talk about this one right here. Now throughout Batman's career, he's had multiple different suits, but he's had three major ones, which had variants of each one. The first suit I like to call is the early years suit. This is the suit he wore for his first 3 years of his career, which had a huge black bat symbol on it, a black and color scheme with the gloves and the suit, and then a belt with small pouches on it. There has been variants on this suit, but mainly that's what it looks like. And he had this suit up until Dark Victory. He changes it for multiple reasons. One is for convenience, and two is for Robin, along with other different reasons. But around his third year, he changes it to this. For lack of a better term, it's called the classic detective suit. The changes was, instead of a black color scheme, he goes with a more blue color scheme, although he does do black sometimes. A different belt that has capsules on it, and a yellow bat symbol. Now, the yellow bat symbol has a reason for this. A lot of people would say, why would Batman, a creature of the night, trying to be stealthy, have a yellow bat symbol on his chest? Well, the reason is because it's a target. The yellow bat symbol is actually the focal point of his body armor. It's where it is the strongest. So, if Batman is going to get shot, he would want to be shot in the focal point, the strongest area. That's why he has the yellow bat symbol there. It's so that people would aim for that rather than his head or somewhere else. An example of this would be Batman in Black Glove, where he takes a flare to the chest. You'll see that the armor there is his strongest point in his armor. Now, the capsule on the belts are for lighter traveling and lighter grappling and all that kind of stuff. It makes things easier for Batman to move. All the capsules contain variant detective devices and tools that he needs to be the world's greatest detective. Now, although it's not shown on this figure, and it's not shown in almost all of Batman's work, Batman does have two pouches on this belt, and they are located in the back region right here. That's to hold his batarangs and his grappling hook. If you read Nightfall Volume 2, one of the panels shows it there. Now, not all artists do this, probably because not all artists know about this, but Batman usually has two pouches on the back for his larger tools, batarangs and grappling hooks. And those are the major differences between this suit. There's one more suit, and that would be his modernized suit, which has a small black bat symbol, big pouches on the belt, and the black and gray color scheme mostly, although it does do blue. But I'll get into the other suits some other time. Let's talk about the figure itself. Now, the history of the DC Universe figures are great. You know why? Because they're done under the art of George Perez. They're inspired by his art. Now, I've said multiple times before that George Perez has some of the most beautiful art out there. So crisp, so clean, so absolutely beautiful. He does a stunning job with his art. And I needed to get this figure for 3 reasons. 1, because I needed a George Perez Batman. 2, because it's George Perez's art. 3, because I needed a Batman to go along with my new Teen Titans Robin that was done under George Perez's art also. So I had to get this figure. And I'm happy to say this line looks amazing. Now, the one thing that's great about this line, in contrast to, say, the Hush line, is that the figures actually look like the art that they're supposed to depict. I'm not taking anything away from DC Direct's Hush line, but really, a lot of the figures do not look like the art that they're supposed to represent. Batman, Nightwing, Catwoman, they look like nothing that they're supposed to look like in the comics. They're still good figures, but they look nothing like how they're supposed to look in the comics, under Jim Lee's art. This Batman looked like George Perez's Batman, and it is a good-looking figure. There's very few complaints I could have about this figure. As you can see, he has a kind of a unique blue color scheme for the boots, the gloves, the cowl, and the cape. Yellow for the belt, yellow and black for the bat symbol, and gray for the rest of the body. Now, on the face, you may not notice, but they actually show his teeth grinning. It's not like an angry, it's more like kind of grin. The cape is very flimsy, and it can easily be moved. It's not made out of a cheap plastic. No, it's just a very loose plastic up in this area. The articulation on this figure is the arms can go out about that far, bend, turn, and the forearms can turn, and the wrist can turn. So once again, the arms can go out, turn at the biceps, bend at the elbow, turn at the forearms, and turn at the hands. Legs can go out about that far, bend at the knees, and turn at the calf muscle, rather than the quadricep muscle, which is a change. He can turn slightly on his waist, but not that far. And it looks like his abdomen region can move, but it's not that much. The head can turn all the way around and look up and down slightly. So, articulation on this figure for a DC Direct figure is actually pretty good, which is unique for DC Direct because usually their articulation sucks and they're more about detail. But they did a good job trying to combine detail and articulation here. Is that as good as Mattel's? Oh, no. But it's still good articulation. Take one more look at Batman. Like I said, he looks really nice. He looks like George Perez's art. It's just absolutely stunning. I have only two complaints with this figure, the figure itself. The first complaint is the arm right here kind of always bulges out like that. Why, I don't know. You can bend it and it's not quite as noticeable, but his hand looks like it's open, so it kind of looks a little awkward. And that, in addition to that, the hand looks like it's open and it can hold something, but it doesn't come with any accessories. The only other problem I have is the cape. Now, the cape isn't bad. It looks good, but the flimsiness just bothers me for some reason. This is just a personal preference I have. You know, I don't see why they didn't do cloth cape, but that's just me. It looks like there's very few figures that actually do cloth cape. That and the quadriceps, I don't like how they spin. Not the quadriceps, the calf. I wish it was the quadriceps that spins. Now, it comes with a stand. It's really just a generic stand. It doesn't even have a DC logo on it. It goes right into his right foot, and it stays in there pretty nicely, but the whole figure doesn't stay on there. It's kind of a crappy stand. I'm just going to use one of my Batman stands instead. On a whole, I would highly recommend picking up the History of the DC Universe figures. They're a great line. I want to say they're the DC Direct equivalent to the DC Universe Classic line, because it's going to do a wide variety of DC characters. So far, right now, as of now, I'm probably just going to get Batman, but who knows, I might get some other figures along the way. Wave 1 is out right now, and it includes Batman, the Manhunter, Green Arrow, and Blue Devil. So, with that said, I highly recommend getting this Batman figure. It is absolutely stunning. It's one of my favorite Batman figures. It's not my favorite, but it's definitely up there. So, definitely go out and get these figures. With that said, this is Andrew saying, peace out for now.